sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That is simply put what Mick Jagger's reputation is built upon. Leading the Rolling Stones, his journey through time is adorned with myriad relationships, from fleeting encounters to enduring bonds spanning decades. In addition, he is also so rebellious that it's hard to imagine all that was done by just one man. However, even though he broke all of his family's expectations, he stood on his own path and struggled with many tragedies on his own. Mick Jagger's life must be very interesting. So what are you waiting for? Let's start the video. There is a truth that Mick Jagger's glamorous and often tumultuous existence stands in stark contrast to the life his middle-class family envisioned for him. His father, Basil Joe Jagger, was a physical education teacher, and his mother, Eva Endsley Mary Scutts, was an active member of the Conservative Party and a hairdresser. The Jagger family led a relatively conventional life, far removed from the high-octane world of rock and roll that Mick would later inhabit. Despite the conventionality of his upbringing, young Mick Jagger always had a flair for performance. In an interview with The Independent, Jagger reflected on his early years, revealing a natural inclination towards entertaining others. At family gatherings long before the advent of mobile phones and instant entertainment, he would often take center stage. Everyone had to do something back then. You had to do a turn, Jagger recalled. I used to do lots of imitations. I did songs, dances, to anything. When Mick Jagger was about 14, his burgeoning passion for music drove him to seek out local bands with which he could perform. This was a clandestine endeavor kept secret from his parents. I wouldn't tell my parents what I was doing, Jagger confessed. Instead, he would find NAF rock bands and join them on stage for a few songs, relishing the thrill of performing. Despite his enthusiasm, he admitted that he didn't have a solid grasp of what he was doing at the time. It was fun, he recalled, but I don't think I really knew anything of what I was doing. Jagger's clandestine forays into the local music scene were a stark departure from the academic aspirations his family had for him. The allure of music and performance was too powerful to resist. His secret performances with local bands were not just a form of rebellion against the academic path laid out for him, but also an exploration of his true passions. These early experiences on stage, though informal and unstructured, were crucial in developing his confidence and stage presence. We all know that Mick Jagger and Keith Richards form one of the most legendary songwriting duos in rock music history, credited with creating iconic tracks like Jumping Jack Flash and I Can't Get No Satisfaction. However, their partnership might never have materialized if not for a serendipitous encounter at a train station. The origins of their relationship date back to their early childhood. Jagger and Richards first met at Wentworth Primary School in Dartford, England. As children, they were acquainted but not particularly close friends. Their lives took separate paths when they moved on to different secondary schools, causing them to lose touch. Years later, fate intervened. One day, while both were teenagers, they happened to cross paths at the Dartford train station. This chance meeting would prove to be pivotal. In his autobiography, Life, Keith Richards vividly recounts the moment he recognized Jagger. Richards shared that he was carrying a couple of blues records which caught Jagger's attention and sparked a conversation. This mutual interest in music rekindled their acquaintance and laid the foundation for their future collaboration. Richards detailed this encounter in a letter to his Aunt Patty penned shortly after their reunion. In the letter, he described how a guy I knew at primary school had approached him. This simple reconnection marked the beginning of a dynamic partnership that would revolutionize rock music. As fate would have it, Keith Richards was carrying a Chuck Berry record with him on that fateful day at the Dartford train station, which served as the catalyst for a conversation that would change the course of rock music history. The record caught Mick Jagger's attention, sparking an animated discussion about their mutual love for music. This shared passion formed an immediate bond between them. In his autobiography, Life Richards recounts the excitement of that meeting and the conversation that ensued. He described Jagger as someone deeply entrenched in the music scene, noting how Jagger possessed every record Chuck Berry had ever made. Richards enthusiastically noted that Jagger and his friends were avid fans of real rhythm and blues R&B music. This shared enthusiasm for R&B, which was relatively niche in Britain at the time, was a significant common ground for the two teenagers. Following their encounter, Richards felt compelled to reconnect with Jagger, realizing the potential of their musical camaraderie. He looked up his old primary schoolmate and discovered that Jagger's passion for music was matched by an impressive talent. In a letter to his Aunt Patty, Richards gushed about his rediscovered friend. He described Jagger as the greatest R&B singer this side of the Atlantic, emphasizing his genuine admiration for Jagger's vocal ability. This was no casual compliment. Richards was profoundly impressed by Jagger's singing prowess, a sentiment that foreshadowed their successful collaboration. Given Mick Jagger's reputation as an anti-establishment figure, fans might be surprised to learn that he was studying finance and accounting at university when he joined the Rolling Stones. Jagger was a student at the prestigious London School of Economics, LSE, a path that reflected the academic aspirations of his middle-class family, who had envisioned a conventional and stable career for him. Despite his academic commitments, Jagger's passion for music was undeniable. His chance reconnection with Keith Richards at the Dartford train station rekindled his interest in performance, and soon he found himself playing shows alongside his newly rediscovered friend. At the beginning of their journey, the Rolling Stones had a modest schedule. As Jagger joked to Rolling Stone, the band only had about 1 gig a month, which made it relatively easy for him to balance his schoolwork with his burgeoning dreams of musical stardom. "We just couldn't get any work," the singer added, highlighting the band's initial struggle to secure regular performances. This period was crucial for Jagger, as it allowed him to develop his skills and stage presence without the immediate pressure of constant performances. It also gave him time to weigh his options and consider his future. His studies at LSE were demanding, yet he managed to juggle his academic responsibilities with his musical aspirations, a testament to his determination and time management. However, as the Rolling Stones' popularity began to grow, the balance between academia and music became increasingly difficult to maintain. The band's energetic performances and distinctive sound started to attract a following, and opportunities for more frequent gigs began to arise. With their rising fame, the stakes were higher, and Jagger faced a significant decision. Mick Jagger's decision to leave his studies at the London School of Economics and pursue a career in music was met with significant resistance from his parents. The challenge of defying their expectations added a layer of difficulty to his choice. "It was very, very difficult because my parents obviously didn't want me to do it," Jagger revealed. His father, Basil Joe Jagger, was particularly opposed to the idea. The prospect of his son abandoning a secure academic path for the uncertainty of a music career was infuriating to him. Jagger admitted, "My father was absolutely furious at the idea of me dropping out. I'm sure he wouldn't have been so mad if I had volunteered to join the army. Anything but this." The pressure from his family compounded the already daunting nature of his decision. Despite the practical and social pressures, Jagger found little satisfaction in his studies. He described his finance and accounting courses as dull, which further fueled his desire to explore a different path. "It was totally stupid to chase music as a career," Jagger acknowledged, reflecting on the risky and unconventional nature of his choice. Yet his dissatisfaction with his academic life made the alternative pursuing music seem more appealing, despite its inherent uncertainties. Years later, Jagger expressed some regret over not exploring other potential career paths. In an interview with the BBC, he reflected on the idea of having a different profession. "I thought of being a journalist," once he confessed. This consideration highlighted his intellectual curiosity and the breadth of his interests beyond music. Jagger recognized the unique challenges and demands of journalism, noting that it would have been a more intellectually stimulating pursuit compared to his career as a rock singer. Jagger's reflection on his career choice revealed a complex relationship with his success. While he acknowledged the immense impact and fulfillment he found in music, he also noted that being a rock singer did not fully satisfy his intellectual ambitions. It's slightly intellectually undemanding being a rock singer, but you know you make the best of it, he stated. This candid admission showcased his awareness of the trade-offs he made and his efforts to find meaning and satisfaction within the realm of his chosen profession. During their early days, the Rolling Stones built their reputation by performing covers of popular songs. Before Mick Jagger and Keith Richards became renowned songwriters in their own right, they received a significant boost from none other than the Beatles. One of the Rolling Stones' first hits was "I Wanna Be Your Man," a song written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Jagger recounted this experience to Rolling Stone in 1968, remembering how the Beatles approached them with the tune. They said they had this tune, he recalled, noting that the song sounded pretty commercial. When the Rolling Stones performed "I Wanna Be Your Man," they added their unique twist to it, infusing the song with an Elmore James style. This approach distinguished their version from the Beatles' original, showcasing the band's ability to take a piece and make it their own. The success of this song helped to establish the Rolling Stones in the music scene and provided a foundation upon which Jagger and Richards could build their songwriting partnership. The relationship between the Rolling Stones and the Beatles was both competitive and collaborative. Despite being portrayed as rivals by the media, the two bands maintained a friendly rapport. This camaraderie was evident when Jagger later inducted the Beatles into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. During his speech, he highlighted the influence the Beatles had on the Rolling Stones, particularly in terms of songwriting. The example of the way they wrote and the original way they crafted their songs wasn't lost on us. Jagger said, acknowledging the impact Lennon and McCartney's songwriting had on him and Richards. The early rivalry between the two bands was largely fueled by their fans and the press, but beneath this competitive surface lay mutual respect and admiration. The Beatles and the Rolling Stones often supported each other both publicly and behind the scenes. The friendly relationship they shared allowed for moments of collaboration, such as the gifting of "I Wanna Be Your Man," which played a crucial role in the Rolling Stones' early success. When Mick Jagger and Keith Richards embarked on the journey of songwriting, their manager Andrew Oldham took drastic measures to jumpstart their creative process. According to the biography, Marianne Faithfull, as years go by, Oldham locked Jagger and Richards in a kitchen for a night with a simple directive: don't come out without a song. This unconventional approach to songwriting would prove to be a pivotal moment in the Rolling Stones' career. Keith Richards vividly described this unique writing session, highlighting the pressure and intensity of the experience. "So what Andrew Oldham did was lock us up in the kitchen for a night," Richards revealed. The confines of the kitchen became their creative crucible as they grappled with the challenge of crafting their own original material. The pressure cooker environment forced them to confront their creative limitations and push past them, resulting in a burst of inspiration. The outcome of this unconventional writing session was a song that would become a hit for singer Marianne Faithfull. While the song was unlike the typical Rolling Stones material, its success demonstrated the versatility and range of Jagger and Richards' songwriting abilities. Richards acknowledged this departure from their usual style, noting it was unlike most Rolling Stones material. But that's what happens when you write songs. This early success outside of their own band served as validation for their songwriting prowess and encouraged them to continue exploring new creative avenues. Despite the initial struggle to produce songs for their own band, Jagger and Richards eventually hit their stride. The breakthrough came with the composition of "I Can't Get No Satisfaction," a song that would become one of the Rolling Stones' most iconic hits. Once they had written this seminal track, the floodgates opened and they began churning out a string of chart-topping hits that would define their career. Mick Jagger's electrifying stage presence and iconic dance moves have long been a defining aspect of the Rolling Stones' live performances. His dynamic and charismatic movements have captivated audiences for decades, inspiring countless imitators and even becoming the subject of popular songs like Maroon 5's Moves Like Jagger. However, the origins of Jagger's distinctive dancing style have been a subject of debate and speculation. One often cited account comes from the legendary Tina Turner, who shared a close friendship and professional relationship with Jagger. Turner, who described Jagger as being like a brother to her, claimed to have played a significant role in shaping his dancing prowess. In a 2017 interview with the Daily Mail, Turner revealed that Jagger had expressed a desire to learn how to dance, and she willingly took on the role of mentor. "Mick wanted to dance, and I was a dancer, but he never gave me the credit," Turner remarked playfully, suggesting that Jagger had downplayed her influence on his dancing abilities. According to Turner's recollection, she and the girls introduced Jagger to the pony dance move in a dressing room. The pony, a popular dance style characterized by rhythmic hip movements and a bouncing motion, became one of Jagger's signature moves and a staple of his on-stage repertoire. Turner's account suggests a collaborative and supportive relationship between the two performers, with Jagger drawing inspiration and guidance from Turner's expertise as a dancer. While there have been various accounts attributing the origins of his dancing prowess to different influences, Jagger himself credited his mother with his initial dance training. In an interview with his brother Christopher for Rolling Stone, Jagger fondly recalled his childhood dance lessons with his mother. "Mom tried to teach me," he recounted, "and we waltzed around the living room to the strains of Victor Sylvester." These intimate memories painted a picture of a young Jagger awkwardly attempting to master the art of dance under his mother's guidance. Despite his best efforts, Jagger admitted that he was hopeless during these early lessons. The image of mother and son gliding awkwardly across the living room floor with Jagger trying his best not to step on his mother's toes offered a glimpse into the formative experiences that would eventually shape his iconic stage persona. While Jagger's initial forays into dance may have been less than graceful, his perseverance and determination to improve laid the groundwork for his future success. Over time, he would hone his skills and develop a distinctive style that would become synonymous with the Rolling Stones' performances. In addition to his mother's influence, Jagger also drew inspiration from soul legend James Brown. Reflecting on Brown's impact on his own approach to performance, Jagger described him as a huge influence. It wasn't just Brown's dance moves that captivated Jagger. It was the unparalleled energy and passion that Brown infused into his performances that truly resonated with him. It wasn't just the moves he made, Jagger remarked. It was the energy he put into it that was amazing. The Rolling Stones' tumultuous relationship with the media, particularly in the 60s and 70s, was marked by controversy and rebellion. Their defiance of societal norms and penchant for hedonistic pursuits often landed them in the headlines, with one of the most infamous incidents being the Redlands bust of 1967. The events leading up to the Redlands bust began with a seemingly innocuous chauffeur hired by Keith Richards. This chauffeur, whose identity remains undisclosed but is referred to as Mick, played a pivotal role in the unfolding drama. It was reported that Mick had provided an anonymous tip to the notorious tabloid News of the World, alerting them to a supposed sex and drugs bacchanal planned at Richards' residence. Armed with this information, News of the World wasted no time in passing it along to the authorities. The police, acting on the tip-off, swiftly descended upon Richards' house, poised to raid the premises in search of illegal substances. What they encountered upon their arrival was a scene that would become legendary in the annals of rock history. Contrary to their expectations of a drug-fueled party, the police were greeted by a rather unexpected sight. Mick Jagger's girlfriend, the iconic Marianne Faithfull, naked under a fur rug. The discovery of Faithfull in this compromising position became the focal point of media attention, overshadowing any evidence of drug use that the police may have been searching for. While most of the illegal substances had been cleverly concealed in time, Jagger found himself arrested and charged with possessing 4 amphetamine pills that were found in his jacket. However, what ensued was not just a legal battle, but a testament to the loyalty and solidarity among the Rolling Stones and their inner circle. Despite Marianne Faithfull admitting that the pills belonged to her, Jagger refused to let her shoulder the blame alone. This act of loyalty and integrity showcased Jagger's character and sense of responsibility, even in the face of potential consequences. Meanwhile, Keith Richards and their art dealer Robert Fraser faced even heavier charges for the drugs found in their possession. The severity of the charges and the looming threat of prison sentences cast a dark shadow over the Rolling Stones' future. However, they found unexpected support in the form of public outcry and advocacy from influential figures. The turning point came with a remarkable article in The Times penned by William Rees-Mogg, a typically conservative editor. Rees-Mogg's article passionately argued that the punishment meted out to Jagger and his associates was unjust and disproportionate. Rees-Mogg's intervention sparked a wave of public sympathy and support for the Rolling Stones. His article not only highlighted the flaws in the legal proceedings, but also underscored the broader cultural significance of the case. The public outcry that followed Rees-Mogg's article put pressure on the authorities to reconsider their stance, leading to a dramatic turn of events. Ultimately, the Rolling Stones and their associates were spared from serving prison sentences. The charges against them were dismissed, thanks in large part to the public support generated by Rees-Mogg's article. The bandmates emerged from the ordeal with their reputations intact, having weathered a storm that could have derailed their careers and tarnished their legacy. The Altamont Free concert, held in December 1969, is often remembered as one of the darkest chapters in rock history. What was meant to be a celebration of music and countercultural unity descended into chaos and tragedy, culminating in a series of violent incidents that shocked the world. At the center of the controversy was the Rolling Stones frontman Mick Jagger, whose life was nearly claimed in the turmoil that ensued. The decision to hire the Hells Angels motorcycle gang as security for the concert proved to be a catastrophic mistake. Far from maintaining order, the Hells Angels' presence only exacerbated tensions and fueled the atmosphere of lawlessness. As the day wore on and the situation grew increasingly volatile, clashes erupted between concert-goers and the Angels, escalating into a full-blown melee. Amidst the chaos, tragedy struck when an 18-year-old fan named Meredith Hunter was stabbed to death by a member of the Hells Angels. The horrific incident, captured on film, sent shockwaves through the crowd and cast a pall over the entire event. For many, Hunter's death symbolized the violent and tumultuous end of the idealistic optimism of the 60s, marking a sobering reality check for the countercultural movement. In the aftermath of the Altamont Free concert, Mick Jagger found himself at the center of a storm of controversy and condemnation. As the de facto leader of the Rolling Stones, he bore much of the blame for the disastrous decision to hire the Hells Angels as security. Jagger was haunted by the knowledge that the concert, intended as a celebration of peace and love, had ended in tragedy on his watch. The revelations brought to light by a BBC radio documentary in 2008 added another chilling layer to the tumultuous saga surrounding the Altamont Free concert and its aftermath. According to former FBI agent Mark Young, some members of the Hells Angels harbored a deep-seated grudge against Mick Jagger, blaming him for the fallout from the disastrous concert. As Young detailed, these embittered Hells Angels devised a sinister revenge plot aimed at the Rolling Stones frontman. Their plan was nothing short of audacious and brutal. They intended to infiltrate Jagger's Long Island residence and exact lethal retribution for what they perceived as his betrayal in firing their security forces. The Hells Angels' revenge scheme was meticulously crafted and fueled by a potent mix of anger, resentment, and a thirst for vengeance. They assembled their forces and gathered weaponry in preparation for the assault on Jagger's home. The plan was to embark on a boat journey to Long Island, where they would carry out their deadly mission under cover of darkness. However, fate intervened in a most unexpected and dramatic manner. As the Hells Angels set out on their ill-fated voyage, a sudden and violent storm descended upon them with ferocious intensity. The storm's fury unleashed chaos upon the watercraft, threatening to capsize it and plunge its occupants into the treacherous depths of Long Island Sound. In a twist of fate that bordered on the miraculous, the storm that had thwarted the Hells Angels' murderous plot also spared their lives. Struggling against the elements, they narrowly escaped a watery grave, their boat battered and nearly sunk by the tempestuous seas. As Young recounted, the bikers emerged from the ordeal, shaken but alive, their nefarious plans dashed by the merciless force of nature. The tragic demise of Brian Jones in 1969 marked a profound turning point in the history of the Rolling Stones, casting a long shadow over the band and forever altering its trajectory. As one of the original founding members of the group, Jones had been instrumental in shaping their early sound and image. However, his gradual descent into a spiral of drug abuse and legal troubles had taken a toll on both himself and the band. Mick Jagger, who had emerged as the de facto leader of the Rolling Stones over the years, found himself grappling with the increasingly erratic behavior of his longtime bandmate. Jones's struggles with substance abuse and legal issues had reached a critical juncture, impacting his ability to fulfill his responsibilities within the band. As tensions mounted and Jones's condition deteriorated, Jagger was forced to confront the difficult reality that his friend and colleague was no longer capable of fulfilling his role in the group. In a moment that would reverberate through the music world, Jagger made the heartbreaking decision to part ways with Jones, effectively severing ties with one of the band's founding members. According to Christopher Anderson's biography, Mick Jagger took the decisive step of firing Jones, citing his inability to commit to the demands of touring and recording. It was a painful and contentious decision, but one that Jagger believed was necessary for the band's survival. Jones's departure from the Rolling Stones marked the end of an era and ushered in a new chapter in the band's history. In the wake of his exit, Jagger wasted no time in seeking out a replacement determined to keep the band moving forward despite the loss of their original founder. His search led him to Mick Taylor, a young and talented guitarist whose virtuoso playing would breathe new life into the Rolling Stones sound. The passing of Brian Jones, a founding member of the Rolling Stones, sent shockwaves through the music world and marked the end of an era. Less than a month after his departure from the band, Jones was tragically found dead at his home in Sussex, leaving behind a legacy tinged with both brilliance and turmoil. Despite the passage of time, questions and rumors surrounding the circumstances of his death continue to linger, shrouding the event in mystery and speculation. In the wake of Jones's untimely passing, his former bandmates grappled with grief and disbelief, struggling to come to terms with the loss of their friend and collaborator. The Rolling Stones paid tribute to Jones in a poignant and symbolic gesture at their Hyde Park concert, a moment immortalized by the observer. Mick Jagger, the band's charismatic frontman, took to the stage to read a moving poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley, his words echoing across the crowd in a solemn tribute to their fallen comrade. As Jagger recited the verses, butterflies were released into the air, their delicate wings carrying the spirit of Jones aloft amidst the sea of mourners below. Despite the outpouring of emotion and the solemnity of the occasion, Mick Jagger remained steadfast in his denial of any personal culpability or guilt in Jones's demise. In a revealing interview with Rolling Stone in 1985, Jagger offered a candid reflection on his relationship with his former bandmate, acknowledging his own shortcomings and the complexities of their dynamic. "I do feel that I behaved in a very childish way," Jagger admitted, reflecting on the conflicts and tensions that had characterized their interactions. But unfortunately, he made himself a target for it. Jagger lamented, alluding to Jones's struggles with drug addiction and the toll it had taken on their relationship. In 1971, Amid mounting frustrations with the British government and facing crippling financial implications, Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones made a momentous decision to bid farewell to their homeland. The catalyst for their departure was the British Labour government's implementation of new tax rates, which posed a dire threat to the band's financial stability and artistic freedom. And the Rolling Stones' decision to leave the UK was driven by a confluence of factors, chief among them being the band's acrimonious split with their former manager Alan Klein. The fallout from this contentious breakup had left the band's finances in disarray, with their earnings severely depleted and their future prospects uncertain. Faced with the prospect of losing a staggering 93% of their income to the government's exorbitant tax rates, the Rolling Stones found themselves backed into a corner with few viable options remaining. In a bold move aimed at safeguarding their financial interests and preserving their creative autonomy, the Rolling Stones embarked on a transformative journey that would take them far from the familiar streets of their native England. Setting their sights on the sun-drenched shores of the south of France, the band established a makeshift recording studio in the picturesque surroundings of Villefranche-sur-Mer, where they would commence work on what would become one of their most iconic albums, Exile on Main Saint. The decision to record Exile on Main Saint in the south of France was not merely a practical response to punitive tax rates. It was a profound statement of defiance against the British government and a declaration of independence by the Rolling Stones. In the documentary Stones in Exile, Keith Richards vividly recounted the tumultuous circumstances surrounding the album's creation, describing a palpable sense of disillusionment and alienation among the band members. There was a feeling you were being edged out of your own country by the British government, Richards reflected, highlighting the band's growing disillusionment with the political establishment. Despite their status as cultural icons and musical trailblazers, the Rolling Stones found themselves marginalized and ostracized by the very government they had once called home. The decision to relocate to the south of France represented a bold act of resistance against the forces of oppression and a defiant assertion of their artistic freedom. In the sun-drenched enclave of Villefranche-sur-Mer, Mick Jagger and his bandmates found refuge from the stifling confines of their homeland, creating a makeshift recording studio in the basement of a dilapidated villa. It was a far cry from the state-of-the-art facilities they were accustomed to, but the band embraced the challenge with characteristic tenacity and creativity. The recording process for Exile on Main Saint was marked by chaos, spontaneity, and a relentless pursuit of artistic perfection. Despite the drugs, the cramped quarters, and the improvised nature of their surroundings, the Rolling Stones poured their hearts and souls into every note, channeling their frustrations and disillusionment into a sprawling double album that defied categorization and challenged conventions. For Mick Jagger, the creation of Exile on Main Saint was a deeply personal journey, reflecting his own nomadic spirit and restless quest for belonging. As the Evening Standard reported, Jagger's affinity for life beyond the borders of the UK is evident in his extensive property portfolio, which includes homes in Los Angeles, France, and the Caribbean island of Mustique. His decision to purchase a $1.4 million house in Florida for his partner, Melanie Hamrick, in 2020 further underscores his commitment to a life untethered by geographical boundaries. Mick Jagger's foray into the world of acting has been as eclectic and unpredictable as his legendary music career, marked by a series of sporadic yet memorable performances that have left an indelible mark on the silver screen. His acting journey began with a splash in the cult classic Performance, where he portrayed a drugged-out rock star living a hedonistic lifestyle with 2 women. The role, noted by The Guardian, wasn't too far removed from Jagger's own persona, lending an air of authenticity to his portrayal. Following his debut in Performance, Jagger's acting pursuits led him to take on the iconic role of the famous Australian outlaw, Ned Kelly, in the aptly titled film Ned Kelly. However, Despite the anticipation surrounding the project, the film failed to garner the acclaim and recognition that Jagger had hoped for, leaving his acting ambitions somewhat unfulfilled. Undeterred by setbacks, Jagger's next endeavor took him into the realm of cult cinema, where he was linked to one of the most iconic characters in film history, the flamboyant mad scientist Dr. Frank N. Furter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. While the role ultimately went to Tim Curry, producer Lou Adler revealed to Rolling Stone that there was speculation about Jagger's potential involvement, though it remained uncertain whether he would have seriously considered taking on the part. Jagger's aspirations in the world of acting didn't end with cult classics and iconic characters. He also sought out more prestigious roles, including an ambitious attempt to portray the legendary composer Mozart in the Oscar-winning film Amadeus. Despite his efforts, the role ultimately eluded him, highlighting the competitive nature of the industry and the challenges faced by actors in securing coveted roles. In a candid interview with Rolling Stone, Jagger reflected on the highs and lows of his acting career, expressing a pragmatic outlook on the challenges of securing roles in major studio productions. "You have to have your nose to the ground for what parts are going around the major studios, which are very few," he remarked. "They're mostly written with some guy in mind, and you only get the part if he gets ill or something." Despite the setbacks and rejections he has faced, Jagger's unconventional film career continues to evolve, with his latest role in 2019's The Burnt Orange Heresy, showcasing his enduring passion for storytelling and his willingness to explore new creative horizons. As the Rolling Stones entered the 1980s, they stood atop the pinnacle of commercial success, basking in the adulation of fans worldwide. However, behind the scenes, tensions simmered among the bandmates, threatening to rupture the tight-knit camaraderie that had long defined their legendary partnership. Keith Richards, in his revealing autobiography Life, unveiled a poignant anecdote that shed light on the internal strife brewing within the band, particularly involving drummer Charlie Watts and frontman Mick Jagger. Richards recounted a pivotal moment where Watts found himself pushed to his breaking point by Jagger's burgeoning ambitions and burgeoning ego. At the time, Jagger was poised to embark on a solo venture, a decision that would have profound ramifications for the band's dynamic. As Jagger set his sights on solo stardom, Richards observed a troubling transformation in his bandmate, describing it as LVS, or lead vocalist syndrome. In essence, Jagger's burgeoning ego and desire for individual acclaim threatened to overshadow the collective ethos of the Rolling Stones, leading to tensions within the group. The specter of Jagger's solo aspirations loomed large over the band, casting a shadow of uncertainty and discord over their future. While Jagger's solo endeavors would ultimately yield remarkable success, including smash hit albums and acclaimed duets with musical luminaries such as David Bowie and Tina Turner, the process of his departure from the band was fraught with conflict and uncertainty. For Watts and the rest of the band, Jagger's solo pursuits represented a seismic shift in the group's dynamic, raising questions about their collective identity and future trajectory. As Jagger's star continued to rise in the realm of solo artistry, tensions simmered within the Rolling Stones, threatening to rupture the bonds that had sustained them through decades of musical triumphs and tribulations. The strain within the band reached a crescendo as Jagger's ego grew increasingly inflated, prompting Richards to sound the alarm on what he perceived as a dangerous trend. In Richards' eyes, Jagger's ego had grown too big for his own good, a sentiment echoed by many within the band and the broader music industry. The tensions brewing within the Rolling Stones finally reached a boiling point in 1984, culminating in a dramatic confrontation between Charlie Watts and Mick Jagger that would go down in rock and roll lore. The incident unfolded in the early hours of the morning as Jagger summoned Watts over the phone in an Amsterdam hotel, demanding his presence with a casual yet commanding tone. "Where's my drummer?" Jagger's words reverberated through the dimly lit corridors, setting the stage for a showdown that would forever alter the dynamics of the band. Watts, weary and exasperated by Jagger's domineering attitude and sense of entitlement, reached his breaking point as he stormed into Jagger's room clad in an impeccably tailored Savile Row suit. The contrast between Watts's dignified appearance and Jagger's rock star persona was stark emblematic of the underlying tensions simmering beneath the surface. In a moment of unbridled fury, Watts confronted Jagger, his words dripping with indignation and defiance. "Never call me your drummer again." Watts's voice was laced with a steely resolve as he delivered a stern warning to his bandmate. The tension in the room was palpable as Watts stood his ground, his eyes locked with Jagger's in a silent battle of wills. And then in a sudden and shocking twist, Watts's simmering anger erupted into a physical altercation as he delivered a swift and decisive blow to Jagger's face. The impact sent Jagger reeling backward, his body careening towards an open window overlooking a tranquil canal below. As Jagger teetered on the brink of disaster, his life flashing before his eyes, it was Keith Richards who intervened, saving his bandmate from a potentially fatal fall. With lightning reflexes, Richards lunged forward, grasping Jagger's jacket with a vice-like grip and pulling him away from the precipice. In that fleeting moment, amidst the chaos and confusion, the bonds of brotherhood that had forged the Rolling Stones were laid bare, as Richards risked life and limb to save his friend and bandmate from a tragic fate. The aftermath of the altercation reverberated through the corridors of the hotel and beyond, sending shockwaves through the music world and sparking intense speculation about the future of the Rolling Stones. Yet despite the gravity of the situation, the band managed to weather the storm. The incident served as a wake-up call for Jagger and Watts, forcing them to confront the simmering tensions that had threatened to tear the band apart. Mick Jagger's persona as a rock icon extends far beyond his musical prowess, encompassing his larger-than-life presence as a symbol of rebellion, charisma, and unabashed passion. Central to this image is the enduring rumor that Jagger has engaged in liaisons with an astonishing number of individuals, cementing his status as a legendary Lothario within the annals of popular culture. The myth surrounding Jagger's sexual conquests reached legendary proportions, fueled by sensational rumors and salacious gossip that circulated within the hallowed halls of the music industry and beyond. According to his biographer Christopher Anderson, the enigmatic frontman has purportedly indulged in the company of an estimated 4,000 different partners, a staggering figure that has captivated the imagination of fans and admirers worldwide. In an interview with Extra, Anderson confirmed the veracity of this claim, asserting that Jagger's insatiable appetite for romantic encounters has left an indelible mark on his legacy. However, Jagger's romantic exploits were not confined to conventional notions of gender and passion, as Anderson revealed in his biography. According to the biographer, Jagger himself acknowledged the fluidity of sexual orientation, asserting that everyone is basically bisexual. This revelation adds a layer of complexity to Jagger's persona, challenging traditional notions of identity and desire, while underscoring his reputation as a libertine unbound by societal conventions. The allure of Jagger's magnetism extended beyond the confines of mere mortals, encompassing a constellation of celebrities and luminaries who were drawn to his irresistible charm and charisma. According to reports from Far Out magazine, Jagger's famous paramours included an array of A-list personalities such as Madonna, Carla Bruni, Angelina Jolie, and Farrah Fawcett, each adding a touch of glamour and intrigue to his storied romantic history. The dynamic between Mick Jagger and Keith Richards has long been a focal point of fascination for fans and critics alike, characterized by a complex interplay of camaraderie, competition, and occasional conflict. However, the revelation of an alleged affair between Jagger and Anita Pallenberg a girlfriend of Richards and co-star in the film Performance, added a new dimension of intrigue to their storied relationship. In his candid autobiography, Life Richards offered a candid glimpse into the tumultuous dynamics within the Rolling Stones, shedding light on his suspicions regarding Jagger's alleged dalliance with Pallenberg. Richards admitted that he had harbored lingering doubts about the nature of Jagger's relationship with Pallenberg, noting subtle cues and behaviors that fueled his suspicions. Despite Jagger's outward demeanor of nonchalance, Richards claimed to have sensed an underlying tension and secrecy that hinted at a deeper connection between the two. The alleged affair between Jagger and Pallenberg was a source of contention within the inner circle of the Rolling Stones, casting a shadow of doubt and distrust over their interpersonal dynamics. Richards' candid admission of his suspicions underscored the fragile nature of trust and loyalty within the band, revealing the undercurrents of jealousy and betrayal that simmered beneath the surface. Anita Pallenberg, for her part, vehemently denied the allegations of an affair with Jagger, dismissing them as baseless rumors in a 2008 interview with The Guardian. Her denial cast further doubt on the veracity of Richards' claims and added a layer of ambiguity to the narrative surrounding the alleged infidelity. Despite Mick Jagger's reputation as a legendary ladies' man, characterized by a whirlwind of romantic entanglements and high-profile relationships, his matrimonial history is surprisingly sparse, with only one official marriage to his name. The union in question between Jagger and Nicaraguan-born Bianca Perez Mora Matias took place amidst the sun-drenched splendor of Saint-Tropez in 1971, marking a fleeting moment of domestic bliss amid the tumultuous whirlwind of Jagger's rock and roll lifestyle. The wedding of Mick and Bianca Jagger captured the attention of the world as the glamorous couple exchanged vows in a lavish ceremony attended by a constellation of celebrities, socialites, and luminaries from the worlds of music, fashion, and entertainment. Against the backdrop of the French Riviera, Jagger and his radiant bride embarked on a journey of marital bliss, their union symbolizing a union of love and passion that transcended the confines of fame and fortune. However, despite the public perception of Jagger's marriage to model Jerry Hall, the legality of their union would come under scrutiny years later, casting a shadow of doubt over their purported marital status. In 1999, as reported by The Guardian, Jerry Hall initiated divorce proceedings against Jagger, seeking to dissolve their union and move on with her life. However, the proceedings took a dramatic turn when Jagger's legal team issued a startling statement contesting the validity of the marriage on the grounds that Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall were not in fact legally married. Spanning over 2 decades, Jagger and Hall's relationship yielded 4 children, a testament to the enduring bond between the two, despite the tumultuous nature of their union. However, the legitimacy of their marriage came under scrutiny following their 1990 wedding ceremony in Bali, Indonesia. In a stunning revelation, it emerged that the ceremony had been overseen by a Hindu priest and lacked the necessary documentation to be recognized as a legally binding marriage. According to Jagger's legal team, the absence of official documents and authorization from the British consulate cast doubt on the validity of the marriage. Furthermore, Jagger asserted that the ceremony had only one witness, further complicating the legal status of their union. In light of these revelations, Jerry Hall's claim of adultery against Jagger took on a new dimension, as the absence of a legally recognized marriage meant that Jagger's extramarital liaisons technically did not constitute adultery. According to CNN, Jagger has fathered a total of 8 children by 5 different women, a testament to his enduring fertility and penchant for romantic entanglements. This complex familial landscape includes a diverse array of relationships and partnerships, each contributing to the rich tapestry of Jagger's personal life. In addition to his 8 children, Jagger also boasts 5 grandchildren, a testament to the enduring legacy of the Jagger dynasty. The arrival of his great-grandson Ezra in 2014 marked a new chapter in the Jagger family saga, adding another layer of depth and complexity to their storied lineage. However, the most surprising addition to the Jagger clan came in 2016 with the birth of his youngest son, Devereux Octavian Basil Jagger, as reported by The Guardian. Born to ballerina Melanie Hamrick, who is 44 years Jagger's junior, Devereux's arrival captured the attention of the world, sparking widespread fascination and intrigue. Devereux's name carries a rich symbolism that reflects his unique place within the Jagger family tree. His middle name, Octavian, pays homage to his status as the 8th child of Mick Jagger, while the name Basil serves as a tribute to Jagger's father, adding a poignant touch of familial homage to his moniker. The arrival of Devereux also sparked playful banter among Jagger's bandmates, with Keith Richards jokingly suggesting that it was time for the snip for the prolific rocker. Richards' tongue-in-cheek remarks made to WSJ magazine underscored the lighthearted camaraderie that exists among the members of the Rolling Stones, even as they navigate the complexities of fame, family, and fatherhood. Despite his advancing age, the legendary rocker continues to defy expectations, forging ahead with a relentless passion and boundless energy that belies his 70-plus years. From his prolific output of children to his ongoing musical endeavors with the Rolling Stones, Jagger's journey is a testament to the enduring power of rock and roll. At the heart of Jagger's remarkable career is the enduring legacy of the Rolling Stones, a band that has transcended generations and musical genres to become a global phenomenon. Despite the passage of time, the band's indomitable spirit and electrifying stage presence continue to captivate audiences around the world. Their no-filter tour, which attracted legions of fans prior to Jagger's temporary withdrawal due to heart valve surgery, underscored the band's enduring popularity and unmatched appeal. The Rolling Stones' remarkable resilience and longevity were further exemplified by the success of their reissued album, Goat's Head Soup, which soared to the top of the official UK charts in 2020. This milestone achievement solidified the band's status as trailblazers in the music industry, setting a new benchmark for longevity and staying power. Moreover, the Rolling Stones' record-breaking concerts in 2007, as documented by Reuters, cemented their status as the undisputed champions of live performance. With their A Bigger Bang tour, the band shattered records and made history, earning accolades from Guinness World Records as the most successful tour in the world. The staggering financial success of the tour, which reportedly generated a jaw-dropping $437 million in revenue, further underscored the band's unrivaled commercial prowess and global appeal. Amidst their continued triumphs on the stage and in the charts, Mick Jagger has emerged as a towering figure in the realm of celebrity wealth, amassing an impressive net worth of $500 million according to Celebrity Net Worth. This staggering fortune is a testament to Jagger's multifaceted career as a musician, performer, and cultural icon, solidifying his status as one of the wealthiest and most influential figures in the entertainment industry. What do you think about Mick Jagger's life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.